It's a Friday, and people think that lawyers don't work on Fridays.
Wow, that's a huge fallacy.
Yeah?
We are around the clock every time we're working.
Yeah. Even on the weekends?
Yes, even on the weekends. Because especially during the weekends, you find that there are a lot of things that come up, and then you call up on your lawyer. Do you wish, nobody would wish to call their lawyer on the weekend and then be told today we're not working. Yet someone is at a police station, someone wants to close a deal.
Yeah.
So we work around the clock.
But when someone is arrested on a weekend, surely,
yes,
how do you get them out of the station, yet the courts do not, unless they do operate on weekends?
The courts don't operate on weekends, but it's your constitutional right to be granted police bail.
Oh.
Yeah, so you find that when you call your lawyer, they swing into action, and then they negotiate for the status of what will happen before you're arraigned.
So what are some of the crimes or offenses that can allow me to get a police bail?
Anything is bailable, even murder.
Yes.
Yes, in this country.
You know the whole point of
police bail.
Yes,
because I would think something at the level of murder, kidnapping, perhaps terrorism.
Yes,
hiyo ni kitu tutahave kungojea magistrate ama judge niambie okay fine, wewe tumekuachilia as we continue the investigations.
Let me flip the question and tell by answering the question by telling you that what is the main point of detention? Why would one want to detain you?
Yes,
because of the fear that you will not turn up, or maybe because of the fear that you'll disappear.
Yeah,
but when you have all the reasons and you have someone even stepping in for you to ensure that you come to whatever point you're needed,
yes,
then there's no need to worry. Then you're granted bail. It may be, or cash bail, you may be granted a hefty one. Someone tells you deposit 300 or 500,000 shillings at the police station, you're given a receipt, turn up in court maybe on Monday or Tuesday, and then that's what happens. Because if you fail to do that and they show up in court, what will issue a warrant of arrest against you?
Then what is this thing that usually makes politicians get afraid of being arrested on a Friday? Because wanasemanga ukiingia huko ndani, my friend, it's until Monday morning. So politicians usually, especially if they know they are being, let me call it, hunted by EACC or DCI, they always disappear until further notice.
The whole point is protection of image. Number two, you have to understand that granting of cash bail and police bail is discretionary to the officer in charge of the station, because they will assess the situation and they can justify, they can say within these parameters, we made, or rather I made the decision, and based on what I thought that this person may abscond or may not turn up. So that aspect of it being discretionary, the protection of image, and also the biggest fear of losing your liberty, because we take liberty for granted. Once you're told that, my friend, you need to sit here and not have access to your phone for about 7 hours, then you will know how maybe timeout works for kids.
Yes.
And it's very difficult because you have to do your business.
So how much does it cost? How much is this? You've called it police bail.
Yes.
Usually, how much is it? From what amount to what amount maximum?
Again, as I've said, it's discretionary upon the person in charge of the station and the person also in charge of your case. But we've seen as low, because there's what we call P52. P52 is actually personal bond. You don't pay anything. You're just given a note and then you go. So it can be as low as 0, where you bind yourself personally.
Where your word is everything.
Your word is everything.
Yes.
Up to a maximum, not a maximum, up to now the ceiling is as high as it can go. But I've never heard of someone being given a police bail of more than 500,000.
Okay.
Yeah, so it varies, because again, no police officer wants to hold 500,000 at the police station.
Also, this money, when we pay it,
it's in cash.
Yeah, of course it's in cash, but they keep it at the station.
Yes, they actually, practically, they actually staple it upon where your documents are, maybe your charge sheet or your receipt. They staple it there and then puts it in the drawer, locks the drawer, and then goes away.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's a safe.
Police stations don't have safes. I've not seen one.
So I get a receipt for that?
You get a receipt for that. It's refundable before you take plea. Yes.
Also, when I get to court number, by the mkubwa, ndio 500,000 yako.
Definitely. In fact, the magistrates or the wherever you're taken, if you're taken before a judge, wherever you're taken, the first order of the procedure that is done is that your bail, your cash bail is returned, and now you're in the hands of the court.
Okay.
So it's a court that will determine whether they grant you or they don't grant you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that.
It's a simple procedure, but that everyone needs to be aware of. Yes.
All right, sawa. Perhaps on a different occasion we shall talk about this. Yeah,
true to that.
So today we are here to talk about protecting family property legally, and handling terror financing allegations.
Yes.
Let's start with the first part of this topic: protecting family property legally. What are we talking about protecting family property legally?
Ideally, the wealth and the assets that are made within the setup of a family, we need to look at how you can safeguard it. Of course, one may term it also on the other end as estate management, how you manage your estate and how you manage your wealth. But how do you look at it? Because we have different circumstances. You may be in a family setup whereby you live with someone but you're not married to them. You may be married to someone, and within both setups that we've given examples to, there may be children. So why do we work so hard in life so that we can create wealth? We can get properties, because a symbol of wealth and security is properties. So how do we safeguard this? This is what we're talking about.
May I pause you for a second?
Yes, it is.
When we talk about marriage, we all seem to believe we're talking about the same thing.
Yes.
From a legal point of view,
yes,
please explain to me and our listeners,
yes,
what it is that constitutes a marriage legally.
Legally?
Yes, legally.
Okay. This is very interesting, because we have what is protected under the Marriage Act. That is the registered marriage under different regimes, because we have very different regimes. You have customary, you have civil, and then if you profess to Islam, then we have the Mohammedan or Sharia law, and then now we have the English marriage, whereby we call it now the church one. Now, within all these ambits of marriage, you have to register. You have to.
It doesn't matter which one you choose, you have to register.
You have to
register. Where do you register it?
You register with the Registrar of Marriages. You know, we have a Registrar of Marriages that operates from most of the counties. So you have to register even your customary marriage. You know, most people think that when you go for a show or you pay your dowry, then that is done. You have a marriage. No. The law set it that within 6 months of celebrating your customary marriage, you have to register it.
You have to go to the Registrar of Marriages.
Yes.
And you have to follow the processes that they ask you to follow.
Yes.
And thereafter is when you will be legally married.
That is when you'll be legally married.
So whether you go to the Qadi,
yes,
whether you have a traditional marriage,
yes,
whether you go to the church,
yes,
all these things have to be registered.
They have to be registered.
If they're not registered, you do not have a marriage.
You do not have a marriage. We saw the recent case where someone had lived with another person for 28 years. And then when they came to court, it was declared that those 28 years, they did not constitute a marriage because the due procedures were not followed.
So wait, what if I like swear an affidavit? Is that a marriage?
Not at all.
Because maybe I did the Rorashio, right?
Yes.
So when I did the Rorashio, then for some strange reason I need, let's say, insurance for my partner.
Yes.
And then they tell me, do you have a marriage certificate? I tell them, no. Swear an affidavit then so that you can provide this insurance for your partner.
Yes.
That is not a marriage.
An affidavit is an oath that you give to someone to just declare that what you're saying is true. But an affidavit is not a document of marriage. You see, you swear an affidavit to fulfill a purpose.
Yeah.
Let's say under Cap 15 they say that it's a declaration. It's a formal declaration. Now, you are filling or deponing. You're a deponent. You're deponing that affidavit for the purposes of maybe that insurance, for the purposes of SHA, for the purposes of fulfilling something else. But that is just to that entity.
Okay.
To identify that you recognize something, but it is not a marriage. You cannot prove a marriage through an affidavit.
So in case of anything,
yes,
neither me or my partner can go and say, look, but I was married to this person. I can't.
You cannot.
I cannot produce it and say I am entitled, for example, to their property, because we did this in 1951.
Not at all. You see, the fact remains is that a marriage, for it to be legal, has to be registered.
Yes.
So an affidavit cannot substitute that, because you go to certain places, then someone charges you 1,500 to swear an affidavit, and then you're not certain whether the commissioner, the person who is commissioning that affidavit, is actually legally mandated to do that. Essentially, you get this cheap document.
Yes.
And then you sit back with it thinking that actually it is a document of registration, yet it's not, because there are so many instances where people backdate. You know what you cannot backdate? Registration at the marriages.
Yes.
Because today, you meet someone and then you say, oh, we want to backdate it to maybe 2018.
Yes.
And it's just a document that you sign at the bottom, sworn at this place on this date, and then someone stamps it. But at the registrars, you have to have filled an affidavit to support that, declaring that you're not in another marriage or something like that. You also have to give notice, because that notice is given by the registrar for any other person who may have any other issue to bring it up. You see what they do in a formal marriage?
Yes.
Now, formality on the documentation or civil aspect is done through paperwork. So you're given a period of time so that if you have any objection, you can raise it at that point.
Okay.
Then it's at that point that the registry is entered. And during that period of time, now you're binding yourself. If you have actually misrepresented or lied, then you can be caught on penal code charges, maybe things like bigamy or things like that.
So if, again, still on the affidavit part,
Yes.
it is presented and these, what are they called, witnesses?
Yes.
They come out and they say, but I was at this particular wedding, this Rorasho or Kwaito.
Yes.
I saw this thing and here are the photos and here's us dancing. There's even a video. That will still not...
Paul, you think if you ask this question 4 times, it'll change because you're asking this same thing over and over.
He seems to be driving at something
exactly. Because there was a Rurasho and then there was another Rurasho and then there were photographs.
No, it's because
videography and
still
everything.
Not married.
Yeah,
But I'll help you.
Yeah, the reason I'm bringing it up
Yeah.
is because we had an argument with someone some time back.
Yes.
And I was telling them exactly what you're telling me right now, and then they were telling me exactly what now I'm telling you.
Yes.
So I'm actually arguing on their behalf.
Yes.
They were saying, but look, we did it.
Yes.
Wazee walikuja.
Ndio.
Video ndio hii tulikunywa mpaka Moratina and we
Yes.
danced. But
Yes.
what do you mean there was no marriage?
There was no marriage because
Yeah.
what you're driving at is that in the absence of any documentation, in the absence of any process, then one can move the court for a presumption of marriage. But that is after the fact.
Okay.
So let's say you've been with someone for a period of time, and then you are trying to claim, or maybe someone in other instances, someone has died, and then someone is trying to be disinherited. Then they have to move the court for a presumption, because the law allows for presumption of marriage when people stay for a certain period of time, fulfill certain requirements. So when you tick the checklist and then you go down and the boxes are all filled, then at that point, you may have a presumption of marriage, but a presumption is declared by the court.
Okay.
What are these things that you tick in the box? Because this presumption seems to be what Paul was looking for. So,
Yes.
Let's give it substance.
Let's give it a meat on that one. Now, the presumption of marriage is when someone moves the court. Again, you have to understand that this now is a court process. You have to move the court for presumption. That is a declaration by the court. So essentially what you'll get, it's the court that will declare through a determination that, of course, there was a marriage here.
Okay.
Now, you have to have lived with this person as husband and wife openly. You have to have witnesses and evidence to that effect, that there was what is a semblance of a marriage. You have to have fulfilled certain shall I call them
obligations.
Obligations.
Yes.
Yeah, so these obligations, you have to have fulfilled them, because there's a very famous case for lawyers. They call it the case of Hortensia Wanjiko Yawe. It's very old, and it's where someone lived with a wife, and then he traveled, and wherever he used to go, he used to introduce this person as, this is my wife, the mother to my children. Then when he traveled, he used to even tell the shopkeeper that when my wife comes here, my wife collects this and this, I will come and pay.
Okay.
They bore children, and then even the neighbors knew that these people are husband and wife.
Okay.
So at that point where Miss Yahweh wanted the court to declare, then she brought all this as pieces of evidence to fulfill that I was indeed a wife. And that presumption stood on that basis.
Okay.
So you find that these are pre our 2014 Marriage Act, because that used to help and used to protect people. But post 2014,
yes,
what they said is that you have to
have registered.
Yes, shall in mandatory terms. Any marriage, be it customary, be it something that
religious,
whichever, you have to. You find that in those mandatory terms, those aspects of presumption of marriage raises now the bar, because now the question will be flipped back to you. Why did you not register? What steps did you take so that this was not registered?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
I hope we have helped your friend now.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Yes.
He's still not married.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I wonder.
Coito and all that is just customary, but you have to register.
I doubt he's listening, but I'll play this clip back for him.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. City amekujibu. Definition ya marriage. When do ulianza swali?
I am the one, and he has answered me very adequately.
Nice. Nice. All right. So
now we can go to this property thing.
Yeah, we can. Now let's protect the property.
Let's protect the property now.
Yeah.
Okay, what has been made through marriage? Okay, during the pendency of marriage, you have different ways that you can protect your assets. If you're married to someone, and then you can choose many different ways of registering property. You can register either in each party, whereby the presumption in law will be that the other party is holding in trust for the other. So you can't have registered property registered in one person's name, and then someone says, oh, but it's Mbovi comes says it's in my name. It's not in that other person's name. Yet you are in the marriage. So the presumption is that you're holding it together.
Okay.
Now, on the other hand, who bears, like, let's say yourself and your spouse, you're not there. Who will take this property and how will it be distributed? Then you go back to the aspect of succession, and maybe your people, the people who are entitled to inherit your property. So here we're talking about if you can protect it through a will, you can protect it through direct registration, you can put a trust, and you can put even certain setups, like you put it in some sort of insurance or assurance, so that this can benefit the people who are going to come in later. But during the time that you're alive, then registering a property in your name or in your company's name still entitles the other party and then protects the family from anything that may come in. And what should you protect from? Intruders, that is third parties. You can protect it from maybe agencies that may want to come in, because let's say one day you want to be declared, not that you want to, you're declared bankrupt. What will make sure that your partner does not lose the property that was registered in your name and all that? So all of this, the steps that we have to get into there.
Yeah. But
basically, mostly it's registration.
Let me talk about something that we usually see, and this is very common. Property after someone has passed on.
Yes.
So mtu amekufa, and then the family is fighting over this property, or even sometimes the family is not fighting, but there's a klande who shows up, you know, some lady that perhaps this person used to be involved with, comes and brings children and says, entitled, me and my child or children are entitled because Mr. ABC used to take care of us, and even ametujengea nyumba fulani mali fulani. And you see people going to court and they are fighting, and it takes years, it drags for years, and you're wondering what's not happening. In such situations, what does the court consider?
In those situations, first of all, the court has to consider whether there was a will or not.
Let's say there was no will.
There was no will. For that instance where there's no will, you know, the law protects the dependents, and in the order of priority, you start with the children. We have had a judgment of all the way to the Supreme Court that says that even in Islam, even those children born out of wedlock shall be entitled, because indeed they are dependents by virtue of being children. But now let's talk of the person you've called the klande, or the other person also coming in. They have to prove that they were being there were dependents of the person who was deceased.
Yeah.
In most instances, that one is very difficult to prove. But when you're a child, then you're entitled, because when you're a child of the deceased, then there's an estate that is there, and there was no will on how to divide the property, then you're considered as a unit.
Okay.
So here the court looks at, let's say person A has 4 children in a legal marriage, person B not married but has 2 children. So these 2 children will form part of the rest, and then together with that other person, and then it's divided equally. Yes.
This is the time I had this, and now that you're here and you're an advocate, you'll help us understand. Is it true that if someone was depending on me,
Yes.
even if they do not have my child,
Yes.
they are entitled to part of my estate?
When they can prove the
But
dependence.
what do you mean they were dependent?
So again, going back to the issue of Clandé, this is for those who do not understand Clandé. I had like a clandestine, relationship with
A mistress or someone.
a mistress. Let's
But
call her that.
For you to have a mistress, you need to have a wife first, isn't it?
Yes, so I have a wife, then,
Okay.
and I have a mistress that my wife probably doesn't even know about, right? So I have this mistress,
Yes.
and I've been supporting her. Nimemnunulia hata maybe nyumba Kileleshwa.
Yes.
Nimemweka hapo. I pay her rent, or I so not her rent, but I buy her food, do her medical care, everything that she needs. Basically, she's just my unofficial second wife. And now I have passed on, and she doesn't know how to she didn't have an income, and I was the one providing everything.
Is the
for her.
house in her name?
Yes, it is in her name. So or maybe I was just renting it. Let's say I was
let's
renting.
go with the ownership. It makes you a responsible bigamist.
But we shall also look at the
I
other
like
part.
that. Responsible bigamist.
Yeah. So in the event that I am not here anymore,
Yes.
can she now come and say, this man used to take care of me, used to do my shopping, used to do my hair, used to do my trips, everything I needed basically. It is this person who was taking care of me.
Yes.
And now that he's there, nitafanya nini? Is it possible for them to claim ownership of part of my estate?
The truth, movie, is that anyone, there's a possibility
And
of
they
anyone.
prove it. They prove it through
Receipts.
M-Pesa messages, receipts, bank
Yes,
statements. I used
yes.
to do a bank transfer to her account.
Yes.
So it is clear that huyu jamaa alikuwa anashughulikia huyu mtu.
Yes. Anyone can lay claim to anything. We've seen all manner of things that come up during the course of our work, and someone comes out and says, I want to claim a portion of the estate because of 1, 2, 3. Now, for an adult, not a child, an adult who is not related to you, are they disabled?
No.
Now, at the point where you're dead, why should the estate take care of her?
Okay.
Or him? Let's not look at it from one angle. Why should the estate?
Because I could be a woman.
Yes.
But yes, proceed.
Why should the estate take care of them? Because at the end of the day, when the person was giving you acts of charity do not constitute actually taking care of you. Because if you're capable of working, you're capable of doing everything on your own, and then the person who was doing it for you is no longer there, then you are going to the estate, your chances of succeeding so that the estate can pay for your hair, they pay your rent and everything, are almost next to zero.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you're not related to this person.
Okay.
You are not a wife. You're not a husband. You're not a child. You're not a relative. But the other side applies when someone says that you, as Mbuvi, through acts of charity, you've taken your cousin, even if the cousin is an adult, but they are in university, you're paying their school fees. So the estate can be asked, because you are a dependent, you continue paying the school fees until you finish. After that, you're on your own.
Okay.
There's a difference between these two. So that aspect of that person who a city has called a responsible bigamist, maybe what they have gained during the lifetime of that person is what they can take.
Okay.
But beyond that, it would be untenable in law.
So if this person has got property, that property cannot be taken away?
No. The property that has been registered in their name?
What if it was registered in this man's name and sasa bahati mbaya ameenda, but
that forms part of the estate, that can be taken away.
So she can be kicked out?
Yes. that forms part of the estate.
Okay.
Everything, like you started by qualifying that this person did not have a will, everything that was in the name of this person,
the name of the deceased now.
Of the deceased,
yes,
shall form part of his estate,
yes,
or her estate.
All right.
That will be determined through the normal process of succession. So a notice shall be given and this person has to vacate.
Yeah.
Just observing the humanity.
Now aspect. I understand some of the stories I see on TV, because I'm usually like mbona they're attacking this other woman. Kumbe it's because the person who did not leave his house in order, basically.
Yeah. Essentially, that is what we call real estate, not real estate, estate planning and management. You manage your estate when you're alive so well, so that during your lifetime, if someone likes you so much that they consider to have you on the side, then they say, Mbovi, I'm putting this car in your name. So nobody can come and take it away from you. My husband will never come and claim it from you. My child will never come and claim it from you, and all that. So I'm assuming this time the person, the benevolent person, is now a lady who comes and says, this is in your name. So when the person dies, then that one is yours. It doesn't form part of the estate. Be it a property, be it a movable property or immovable property, that is yours.
You know, you've mentioned a word that one often hears of.
Yes.
Succession.
Yes.
What does it mean?
Succession, it essentially covers the aspect of dealing, or not only distribution, but dealing with the estate of a deceased person. How do you deal with the estate? And
the estate here refers to the properties that this person owned.
Yes.
Property as in physical properties, bank accounts, anything that
shares,
was of value, all that.
All that.
Okay.
So how is it going to be dealt with at the point or post this person's demise?
The dealt with here refers to the distribution.
Not only distribution.
Okay.
That's why I was very quick to correct myself on that part of distribution. It is not distribution.
What is it?
Remember, you may have rental houses, yeah? So you have to manage. First of all, there's management. We call it collection, management, and then after that is distribution.
Okay.
Because you may have property scattered all over so much that only you know that someone was paying you rent, so you've rented a car here and all that. You know, our setup, sometimes you don't want to...
African male setup.
I didn't want to use that, but
it's true.
So let me use that. Our African male setup, not only males, but even females or some
African male. We are a paternalistic society.
Yes.
And that is why the male discussion always takes precedence when we're having this discussion.
So let me use that, because another person would have like an Excel sheet where you have your manager saying that property A brings you this, property B brings you this, you have to update this and all that, when you have a proper manager of your accounts and everything. But on the other hand, when you're looking at this other aspect of someone who did not plan all of that, then first of all you have to collect. You bring it and you have it organized. You have to preserve so that it doesn't go to waste, because some people, they hear that my landlord died, nobody has asked me for rent, I used to pay on M-Pesa, I will not pay, I will just keep quiet. So you have to collect, you have to preserve, then you go to identify who is entitled, then you can go to distribution.
Okay.
And there's also debt. You pay debts before you do that.
So first of all, for this to take place,
yes,
as you say correctly, you first of all want to determine what this person actually had.
Correct.
How do you do this?
Essentially, if you had somewhere where you had left your documentation, your documents of title, your logbooks and all that,
yes,
then you have a point to start from. If you did not have that and you had suspicions, all you have to do is write letters for confirmation. Let's say you used to see me walk into a bank, let me not name any bank. I used to walk into that bank, I used to have this card and all that. So you identify someone who's going to write a letter so that you can determine what was held there. What account was there? Did this person have an account with this and this? You used to see them receive letters of shares and everything. You write to the registrars to check whether the shares were there. They used to talk about a company. You write so that you can, this is the point of collecting this information so that you can preserve. Then after that, you can know how to distribute.
There's always the issue that one hears in such discussions about something called a will.
Yes.
What role does it play in all this?
A will is a very neat setup it actually cleans up and makes things easier. A will determines your wishes. It's basically your wishes, your last wishes. What would you want to do? If you have children, whom do you want to be the guardian of these children? If you have assets, who do you want it to go to? If you have debts, how do you want the debt to be settled? Your own body, how do you want it to be dealt with? How do you want it to be interred? How long and all that? So a will gives the world an opportunity to get to know your wishes. And it has to be registered. It has to have 2 witnesses, independent, and it has to have an executor, someone who is appointed to actually effect it.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, when somebody has passed away,
yes,
and they do not have a will,
yeah,
and there's property, and there's family that is left, children, probably a wife, probably wives.
Yes.
What is the legal process after you've determined what it is this person owns?
Yes.
This thing, that the details that you then go into determining who gets what.
Yes. First of all, this is what we call, when you have a will, it's called testate. So they say that your estate has already been organized. Intestate, that is where you don't have a will. So when you have an intestate situation, you have the person, there's an order of priority that is normally given in normal procedures who can apply to become an administrator. You have to have an administrator appointed to manage that collection before you go to the distribution. So you have to make an application to court, because an administrator is an officer of the court. So you make an application, you're given interim orders for 30 days for you to start doing the nitty-gritties of collecting. Then after that, you're given another period of time where a gazette notice is published, so that anyone who has an objection with you being granted those orders of court so that you can actually administer the estate, if they have an objection, they have to raise that objection within that period of time. After that is when now you determine that this is how distribution is supposed to be. Then it has to be consented by the people who are going to be beneficiaries. They have to sign their waivers and consents. After that is when now you can go to distribution, where you have what we call a confirmation of grant. Once it's confirmed, then you're told, go distribute. And after a period of time, you're told, like maybe a year, come back and report to court that you have done this and this.
So in the absence of this particular process,
yes,
because what one hears or one reads about, there are these adventurous and creative individuals within a family,
yes,
who want to get one up on the others.
Yes.
And you hear they have proceeded to probably go and sell a property.
Yes.
Or there was a place that was a rental and they proceeded to go and collect the rent and not give to anybody else.
Yes.
Now, what does that constitute?
It's called what it's called in law intermeddling, which is actually a criminal offense.
It's a criminal offense.
Yes, and anything done in that setup is null and void. So if you know very well that I am someone who comes from a family, and even let's say that our father has died, I have siblings, or let's say in this instance my spouse or anyone, then you proceed to deal with me in the absence of my children, in the absence of a document that's showing that I have the authority, then you're risking losing that money that you're trading with me, because it's going to be declared null and void. It's going to be a case between you and I for me to pay you whatever you gave me, because you're not going to get that asset. It shall never be registered in your name.
And what if you've sold it to someone and someone unwittingly has bought it?
That's what I'm talking about. That person has actually lost because they have not done their due diligence.
Whoever's bought that property has lost.
Huyo amekoniwa. That one is gone, because at the end of the day, due diligence dictates that they have to be they have to ascertain that the person dealing with has the capacity to sell.
Buyer beware.
Buyer beware. Unless you have that, because let's say the property is registered in XYZ. My name is B. I'm selling you property registered in XYZ. How shall we have the transfer instrument drafted? I don't have the powers from the court for me to stand in for XYZ, and you still pay me money, then you're the one who is risking it. The court will look at you as a person who was facilitating an illegality, therefore you knew it up front.
So the person who even paid you when they shouldn't have paid, as far as the estate is concerned, they still owe, because they paid it to somebody they shouldn't have paid it to.
Yes. Because you paid rent to the wrong person, so you have to pay to the right person and then chase the other one as a debt.
There is something else that one hears in this conversation. It's called a power of attorney.
Yes.
I've even heard something called an irrevocable power of attorney.
Yes.
What are these instruments?
These are just instruments that when we're talking of power of attorney, we have revocable, and then someone tells you irrevocable, and then someone talks about specific and general powers of attorney. Essentially, this is donating. In legal terms, they say you donate your powers. But the power of attorney cannot suffice at the post-death. When someone dies, the powers that they had donated to you, you cannot start waving around a power of attorney. I had a power of attorney to do this and the person has died. That takes you to the regime of succession now.
The moment somebody has given you a power of attorney and they die, that power dies with them.
That power dies with them. We are going back to succession, because many people could be running around with documentation saying this and this, but essentially power of attorney is that, let's say, city, you're traveling, movies, your friend, you have something that has to be done here, you won't be in that jurisdiction, you can donate power.
I give him the power of attorney.
Yeah, it can be specific or general. General means that anything that you could have done. Specific is that you deal only with my matatu collection and payment, and if I'm sued in that one, you defend and all that. So the specific.
Wait, do I have to be an attorney for me to have power of attorney?
No.
Okay.
But it has to be documented.
It has to be documented, and you're given a power of attorney number, so that when you execute, you write P/A number this and this. That one is given by the registrar of documents.
Okay.
So at that point where someone donates the powers, let's say they're traveling, let's say someone is incapacitated in one way or the other. Someone in their lucid moments, they say that I am certain that I am not in a good state of shape, I donate my powers to so and so insofar as this and this is concerned. But at the point of demise, the powers die.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So that means if I had the power of attorney, and then this person who had donated that power of attorney dies, so I am no longer, I do not have that power anymore.
It goes back to the realm of succession.
All right.
Yes.
So and also, if the person who had been donated that power of attorney, even if him or her also passes on, then
it
that
cannot
power
be
also
substituted.
It won't go to my next of kin.
No.
What if I give you a power of attorney,
Yes.
and a year from now I am incapacitated, meaning
Yes.
I get dementia, or I get some of these mentally debilitating illnesses, and so I am actually not in a frame of mind to make sound decisions. How does that power of attorney then work?
It is very valid, because the power of attorney actually gives, because you have to give someone you have a level of trust on.
Because you're giving them authority.
You're giving them authority. Whatever they do in your name. It's like an agent who acts for a principal. So this principal is well assured that this person will do anything and everything as if it was me. So if by bad luck things turn that you're not in your right state of mind, then that power of attorney actually works for, actually steps up for its particular function. So you cannot say that when you gave this, you were very much clear of mind and everything. Now it has changed, and then someone tries to say that no, that power of attorney does not apply. No. Actually, that is why it was there. Yes.
There are cases that I've read of.
Yes.
Where somebody is incapacitated in the manner that I have described.
Yes.
And in the tussle and squabbles, somebody comes up with the power of attorney. Now, how relevant is that power of attorney then? Because 5 years into my illness,
Yes.
then somebody comes up with the power of attorney, which nobody had presented when I was of sound mind.
At any given point.
Yes, but it now appears, and it's clear that I've been of unsound mind for some time.
Yes. Now, sorry, finish first.
I was going to ask, does that present something that is contestable?
Now, the only points of contest would come if that power of attorney was signed or registered post your mental instability.
Yes.
But if it was pre and it was duly registered, it has a number and everything is there, then it's still valid. Only that someone may question the intentions of why were you sitting all along and watching this person deteriorate in this, because power of attorney also grants someone an opportunity to take care of you in those moments. Let's say you've refused certain medication, you're supposed to sign something but you're not in a good state of mind. This person can actually sign for you. And then the person sits back and waits. Of course, someone will see malicious intention, but the document is valid if it was signed pre. But I've seen those instances where someone tries to sign a power of attorney when someone is already not in a good shape. So they go to the hospital, they say, oh, sign here and all that. That one is invalid because that one is not a properly executed document. You can question the mental status, the capacity of this person to sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Twende huku kwa terror financing allegations.
Yes.
How do you handle that?
Of course, we have an active matter ongoing with regards to that. And this it's an eye-opener. I would call it an eye-opener for most of us, and especially professionals and anyone who renders services, because we have what we call the Prevention of Terrorism Act, which gives very far-stretching and sweeping powers and also provisions that should you just be involved in any way, whether it's within your knowledge or not, then you're guilty of an offense. And then that offense carries a penalty of not less than 20 years. So this is where it becomes a bit funny. So I don't know if we are discussing this, we need to look at how the act is couched vis-a-vis the common person who is not aware of these things. And the biggest question, which I know legally does not feature anywhere, is it fair?
Let's start with the fact that people are now currently being charged with that particular
provision.
Yes. What would make a police officer come in here and arrest me on terror charges?
Of course, we have so many instances, because again, the police, they are given this leeway of when they're suspecting and they have good reasons, because mere suspicion is not good enough, then they do the investigation, then they can put two and two together, find that in one way or the other you're directly linked, or you have featured anywhere, then that's the point they can come and arrest you. They request for time for investigations. If they find something that they can charge you with, then they go ahead and draw the charges. If not, then you're discharged, maybe with a warning to be careful and things like that.
So by the time the police are arresting me, shouldn't they be having sufficient evidence to know that movies are terrorists? Right?
Yes.
Like they have sufficient evidence. So whatever they're looking for after that is just any additional thing that perhaps was overlooked or they hadn't, that probably came to their attention after the fact that they've arrested me. But by the time you're coming to arrest me, and especially on something like terror, murder, mulipata the murder weapon. Okay, in this case it's terror. You found me with the explosives. You found me with the detonators. You found me with maps or blueprints of the buildings that I'm intending to blow up. Surely.
You see, the thing is that the law has in its own provisions. We have the Police Act and also we have the Criminal Procedure Code. It gives them a leeway to detain you for purposes of investigations. And this is just to neaten up some of the things that they did not have in place. Now, the balances here are against the constitutional right to liberty vis-a-vis them observing maybe national security or things like that. So we want, or not that we want that, but the courts have always been there as standing as an umpire in between, so that they can weigh in the two competing interests. Because the police will say, if we don't do this, this and this will happen. On the other hand, your right to liberty, you would be out there saying, if you didn't find me with anything, do not arrest me, do not detain me.
Yes.
So these are the considerations that we have. But on an ideal world, an ideal situation, what you're saying should be correct, that before you get arrested, the person who is arresting you should have sufficient evidence to ensure that actually you can be prosecuted of that offense. But the law allows them through what we call a miscellaneous application. A miscellaneous application is where the police officer drafts reasons and an application to court to detain you for a certain period of time as they neaten up their investigations. But they have to give sufficient reasons why your liberty will be a risk to the investigations being done properly. And maybe you will interfere with some of the investigations. Maybe
witnesses.
Maybe you will flee. Maybe you'll go and destroy evidence, witnesses, and all that.
Okay.
All this have to come into place. But again, the question normally is, because you had time to come up with these charges against this person, why didn't you do that?
For example, during maandamano ya Gen Z,
Yes.
several individuals were arrested. And from what I understand, they were very many, like over 100 of these young people were arrested
Yes.
on terror charges. Would you be knowing what evidence was used to determine that these folks were terrorists?
Not the evidence. Again, remember I started with the suspicion aspect, And you see, the definition of terror is a bit fluid in a way.
Okay.
Because someone will not come and say that you have actually been involved in terror, in terrorist act, unless there is an act of terror that happened, which is now you being arrested after the fact. But when you're arrested on suspicion, then there are these ancillary things that come into play. Maybe you're involved in financing, organizing, planning for things like that. And then they are suspecting that there's a conspiracy to do A, B, and C. These are the things that are ancillary before the fact. So when you're arrested in like those young men and everything, they would have said that the charges are planning, participating, and to act that were going to lead to a terrorist act.
Okay.
So you see, this is something that they're building up to. And this is where I was saying that we need to go and revisit this aspect of the act, the prevention of terrorism. Remember, the act is, from its own name, it talks about prevention of terrorism. Now, on the prevention of terrorism, the reason why I've seen so many of these charges stem up under this act, because this act gives you more leeway. In normal instances, when you go for normal offenses, you're told that you can only hold someone for maybe a period of 14 days, 7 days, 14 days, 21 days. But this one starts from, let's say someone starts from 60 days, someone starts from 40 days, so it gives them more leeway. So this is why it's easier for them to hold someone on these charges. And then after someone who has held you for 40 days and then they say, no, there's not enough evidence. You know, the damage has already been done.
Psychologically, this person has been messed up.
That's why I'm finding it a bit, I have a lot of personal reservations for the police misusing this act. They approach the court, charge you with terror, because those kids at the streets, they were just protesting. So what is the aspect of terror that you bring them and then you ask the court that you want to hold them for 20 days and then you go for an extension of another 20 days and then...
They actually may have had a point.
Yeah?
Yes.
Who, the cops?
Yes.
Yes.
They are the ones who are terrorized. At the very thought, yes.
Yes, they were the ones who were terrorized.
Yes, I'm actually not being facetious.
Yes.
And the people who gave them the orders, they were the ones who were terrorized by what they were seeing. Because evidently it's something that they had not anticipated, and it wasn't going the way they had thought it might go. A peaceful protest is disturbing. When people are causing mayhem, that's easy to deal with. You rain violence on them. But when all they're doing is listening to music and chanting and walking, they are not really. So it's scary, and the numbers are large and the numbers are increasing, and they're telling you in advance what they're planning to do, and then one of the things they've told you in advance actually happens, and you see it. it is terrifying if I was in a position of authority.
But City, when you look at the acts are not they are not subjective. That the terror is supposed to be upon Mbuvi and not the general public. You see, the act is some sort of a social contract between the general person and the protector and the government. So it should act against the entire public. If you were to tell me that the entire Nairobi was terrorized, the entire public was not that the police were facing and they were terrorized because the protest was in this and this manner. Terror has to cover all, because remember, it is the republic against this person.
Let me give you context with reference to Tanzania.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They had never witnessed what they witnessed in this last election.
Indeed.
Arguably, the Kenyan police service are accustomed to people protesting.
Yes.
All right?
Yeah.
Now, here you are doing what you normally do in the way you do, and there are these large crowds of people coming to you, and you are armed with a fully loaded weapon.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
They are more than you, and they're coming towards you. It can be terrifying, because this is not something you're accustomed to. You honestly do not know what to do.
It is terrifying, I agree with you, but it's not an act of terror.
You see, to them it is. I am not trying to interpret or reinterpret the law.
Yes.
What I'm trying to explain here is this. If we remove the word terror from this conversation, we remove the law from it and use the word fright.
Yes.
When somebody is frightened, they will act in a very adverse manner because they are frightened.
True.
When people are scared, they do really, really vicious and very strange things because they are scared. They think that the actions are protective, but that extremity is because they are scared. That is really my point.
I agree with you.
Well,
Yes.
but you know, let's just understand terrorism from a citizen perspective.
Yes.
What we are used to seeing, Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda, blowing up buildings, shooting people, getting people off buses, lying them on the ground, and shooting them. That is the definition of terrorism for a kawaida mwananchi,
For a common person. Yeah.
exactly. So when they hear that Mbuvi, for example, was charged with terrorism, they're imagining, was he covered? Did he have a balaclava, for instance? Did he have guns? Did he throw grenades at crowds or people or buildings? That is where we are not reconciling.